Well, here we are then with Phil Gawne, our political correspondent. And between us, we've been at the December Tynwald sitting for 2023. Not the last sitting for members, though. Both House of Keys and Legco are sitting next week. If you had to give an overall impression or describe this month's sitting, Phil, what would you say?
I think there was some interesting debate, and certainly Tynwald gave council of ministers a couple of gentle bloody noses in relation to a couple of items on the order paper, particularly Paul Crane's item in which he was looking for benefits out to what would be what is the median line between ourselves and the UK, some of those benefits to accrue to the Isle of Man. And all he was asking was, could government ask the UK, would they consider this? Bearing in mind the UK government gave similar rights to Scotland, which isn't anywhere near the independent sort of nature that the Isle of Man is. It doesn't seem like an unreasonable thing, and yet government decided it was going to amend this to try and sort of water the thing down completely, and needless to say, government lost. And then that was followed up by another attempt, which was in relation to, I think it was Claire Christian's motion. I'm trying to find the one now. Yes, I think it was Claire Christian's motion in relation to the Office of Human Resource. Again, they were looking to water this down, and you see, it takes time to do these things, and okay, we might have the review, but there's been lots of changes of personnel and this and that, and we need our new officers to review the review, and Claire Christian motion says it should be published immediately, and Tynwald said, Council of Ministers, what on earth are you talking about? We're going to have this published immediately. And
I suppose, though, for people who always fear that the block vote wins, this is a vote for democracy, it could be seen.
Yes, absolutely, which it's refreshing for neutral observers, at least, to see. And to be fair, I think Tynwald got both of those decisions right, because Council of Ministers, I think, had they done a bit of a sense check on either of these two motions, they would probably have said, well, actually, we might want to delay this or knock this into the long grass, but the reality is we said we were going to do the review of the Office of Human Resource in response to the terrible situation in relation to Dr. Ranson, and we haven't delivered. So, of course we should do this. And why on earth would you say, we're not bold enough to ask the UK whether they might be interested in giving us a little bit of the benefit of what would be ours if we were independent?
I suppose, though, Phil, people might argue it's because you know what the answer will be.
Well, you don't, though, do you? You only know if you ask. And certainly, in my experience in politics, the best way to resolve one of these imponderable questions is to ask it and find out. And if you get told no, what have you lost? Probably a little bit of officer time presenting a case, but beyond that, nothing lost. But yeah, other than that, there were some interesting other non-events, I suppose. The tax strategy statement, in which the Treasury Minister didn't really reveal anything. He basically said that more would be revealed around budget time, but he said we would retain national insurance, we'd retain 010, we'd retain personal taxation in the way that it is, we'd retain the customs and excise sharing arrangement with the UK. We will introduce a new tax strategy for offshore energy, he said, but there was no reference to rates. There was no real understanding as to how the government is going to fill the £150 million gap in government finances.
I suppose from the observer, they might wonder what the point of that motion was then.
Well, the point was the Isle of Man government plan commits to a tax strategy being delivered by now, and it hasn't been. Therefore, the minister has to make a statement to confirm why that's happened. One of the interventions came from the new chair of the OFT during the Tynwald session. I think this was actually going back to Claire Christian's motion on the Office of Human Resource, and he rattled off a whole raft of things that the government was late with, which you could see the Chief Minister wincing at every new revelation. So I think government may be stung by that particular criticism. The other items, worthy items that went through were the sewerage, maybe it's not so worthy, the sewerage rate increase, at which the new chair of the MUA probably was convinced by a mischievous member of the House of Keys to trip over himself by announcing something that wasn't actually on the order paper, which was the £75 increase in the what do they call it, the cesspit, emptying cesspits. That was announced by the chair in his moving of the motion, but it's actually not on the order paper.
It's a terrible expression when you're talking about that, isn't it?
Well, yes, yeah. So that was perhaps not his finest hour, and he managed to avoid actually doing an interview with me because I was quite keen to talk to him about that. Anyway, other things, the homelessness strategy, which again very worthy, although lots and lots of words and not an awful lot of clarity if you are homeless as to how that's going to resolve, although to be fair I think some good steps there. Isle of Man Children's Champion moved her report, Kerry Sharp. Again, some good stuff in there, but the vote was stalled because council of ministers were trying to remove something that Kerry Sharp wanted in, and it was the motion or the amendment that council of ministers moved was lost because the House of Keys and Legco didn't agree, so that was changed. So
that's going to come back next time. That'll come
back for a combined vote. So Kerry Sharp will be appearing on my Perspective programme, telling members why they should be voting for what she was looking for.
And Phil, can I just ask you on that, when it comes back for the combined vote, if a member of Tynwald had voted a particular way this time, can they change their mind?
Yes, they can. It's another vote being taken, but this time by Tynwald as one block. It's a strange and perhaps unnecessary quirk of the Tynwald voting system, that the Keys vote and then Legco votes, and then if Keys votes in favour very strongly of something and Legco votes against, then the Keys can come back and although the member can call for a combined vote. If it's lost in Keys, though, even if it would be won with the combined vote, the combined vote can't be asked because Keys has already decided it doesn't support it. You kind of wonder in this day and age, we're in the 21st century now, there are 32 voting members or 33 voting members. Should
be 33, it's only 32 at the moment, I suppose.
It could be 32. Voting members of Tynwald. Surely you just add up the 32 votes and say how many have said yes and how many have said no. But no, we love our quirky voting systems.
Overall then, summing up, as you say, some significant items in there. Anything that we need to keep our eye on for the future?
Well, I think the encouraging thing for those who like to see scrutiny was that the two motions that Claire Christian brought forward were her first two motions, and she managed to get one through unscathed and another with an amendment which pretty much did what she was looking for anyway. So it's good to see that more members are being bold enough to put motions down. There were quite a few motions that didn't appear, but I think it was an interesting Tynwald. some interesting questions too. But one question which wasn't asked was in relation to the ongoing dispute that the steam packet seems to have with its workers, and that wasn't deemed to be urgent enough for, or maybe actually, I think from what Chris Thomas says, it was too urgent because it had happened the day before an urgent statement was going to be called for, so it was felt that it didn't give the Treasury Minister enough time to provide an answer, therefore he should put it down as an urgent question for Keys, which he has done.
We wait and see. Phil Gawne, thank you very much indeed.